Hello everyone, welcome to Arif Sir Science Hub, your pathway to success in edX low-level computer science. It's me, Arif Islam. You can call me Arif. Today we're going to talk about Fetch-Decode-Execute Model, Fetch-Decode-Execute cycle. So I hope you saw the previous classes. If you don't, then you can see the previous lectures. I will insert the link in the description. So please see the previous lecture first. This is a third lesson. A third lecture. So first of all, for Fetch-Decode-Execute model, we have to see some von Neumann architecture component like the bus. We have to discuss about the bus first. So what is the bus in terms of computer architecture? That means von Neumann computer architecture. So bus is a set of electrical pathway or wires that connects the CPU, RAM, and the input-output devices. That means by the help of the bus, all the CPU, RAM, input-output devices will be connected together and they will communicate, they will transfer the data. And it facilitates the transfer of data and instruction between this component. That means it will transfer the instructions between the CPU, and the IO, or means the peripherals. And the bus allows the CPU to communicate with RAM and external devices. External devices means it could be the input-output devices like your keyboard, mouse, your monitors, your scanners, printers, whatever it is, it will connect it to the components on the bus in the form of electrical signals, because we know that computer basically is an electronic device. That means it will work with the electronic signals. That means it will transfer the electronic signals over the intercomponents. So the bus that connects the CPU to other devices in the computer is divided into three essential parts. That means the bus, we have three different types of buses: the address bus, the data bus, and the control bus. So different bus has their own purpose. So it will work differently. So we'll see which bus will work and how they're going to work. So first of all, the address bus. So address bus basically responsible for carrying memory addresses between the CPU and memory. That means we know that all of your data or instruction will be stored in a specific location of the memory. That's called the memory address. So address bus will carry the memory addresses where the exact data will be stored, and it uniquely identify memory locations. And data bus is in charge of carrying the actual data. That means it will carry the actual data or instruction that we want to store or fetch from the memory, and it will help us to read or write the data. And it is the pathway for transferring informations or instructions. Then the control bus. The control bus carries various control signals. These signals determines actions like reading or writing the data, and specific when the actions should occur. That means when we have to read the data, when we have to retrieve the data from the memory. So control bus will carry that type of signal. That means the control signals, and by the help of the control signal, it will understand when the CPU need to read the data and when the CPU need to write the data. You can see in this figure, we can see inside the CPU. So inside the CPU, there are different types of register, the control units, and the arithmetic logic unit. So you can see inside the CPU, we have memory address register, memory data register, then the other register, arithmetic logic unit, and the control unit. And within the control unit, we have the electronic clock. The clock pulses are connected to the control unit. And the entire CPU is connected to the main memory by the help of three different buses. So you can see we have three different bus: address bus, data bus, and control bus. Okay, so address bus will carry the memory address from the CPU, and data bus that will carry the actual data, and control bus, it will carry the control signal. That means where the data should be written or data should be. So input output devices, you know that the input output device is also known as peripheral component or peripheral devices, and by the help of peripheral devices, we'll just insert the inputs or external instructions by the help of the keyboard, mouse, or other input devices, and it will take the inputs and it will then process it, and it will just gives us some kind of output. And all this happens from the environments, and that will be carried by the input output devices or the peripheral devices. So the bus and the input output devices are the component of this architecture. So Fetch-Decode-Execute model. Fetch-Decode-Execute model is a fundamental concept of computer architecture. That means the entire computer will work within this structure. So we have to know the arithmetic logic unit in brief. So Arithmetic logic units is responsible for performing the logical operations, the calculations of the computer. That means when you want to perform some logical operations, some kind of calculations, so all this stuff will be managed by arithmetic logic unit. The CPU register. You can see within the CPU there are memory locations known as register. That means the inter-register are placed within the CPU, not outside the CPU. It will be placed inside the CPU. And register are exceptionally fast to access, but typically limited in numbers. That means we have few number of register, not a lot of. And some register have a specific role in Fetch-Decode-Execute cycle or Fetch-Decode-Execute model. And in the Fetch-Decode-Execute cycle, this different register will perform a specific task, such as holding memory address, then instruction or data, while others serve a general purpose or other register. So accumulator is a type of register and is the key register within the CPU. It serves as a temporary storage location for the result of calculating performed by the arithmetic logic unit. That means the calculation that performed by the arithmetic logic units, that will be held by the accumulator, and all input-output data between the CPU and memory passes through the accumulator. That means it will pass through the accumulator. Then program counter, it's another type of register, and program counter basically hold the memory address of the next instruction to be fetched and executed, because we know that we have fetch, decode and execute cycle. That means it will first fetch the data, then it will execute and it's the inter cycle. So in the cycle it will hold the memory address or instruction that is fetched from the memory or that should be executed, and essentially it keeps track of the current point of the program's executions. That means all the program that is running currently in the computer, that information will be held by the program counter. Then current instructions. Current instruction register play a crucial role in the CPU. It holds the instruction that is currently being executed by the CPU, and the register is an integral part of fetch, decode and execute cycle. When you just turn on the computers, that means when you on or power on the computers, the fetch, decode, execute cycle will start. That means first of all the CPU will fetch instruction from the memory. That means which instruction or which program it need to run. So it will collect the information from the memory which instruction need to fetch, and carried out the instruction is received. That means it will fetch the instruction, then it will start executing the instructions, and then the inter process will be go on again and again until the computer is powered off. So you can see this is the fetch, decode and execute cycle. It basically will be rotating until you turn off the computers, and all the instruction, all the data will be carried out by the control bus, address bus and data bus, and it will connect all components like CPU, memory and peripheral devices. So in the fetch, decode, execute cycle, we will have some few steps. That means in this cycle it will follow some steps, and the first steps, program counter check. So the processor begins by checking the program counter or determines the next instruction to execute. That means the CPU must need to know which instruction it will just start fetch or executing. Then address retrieval. So the program counter hold a memory address indicating where the next instruction is located, because all the instruction will be placed in the memory, and we need to retrieve the memory address and where the instruction is stored and which instruction we need to fetch or execute it. So instruction fetch. So the processor fetches the instruction value from the memory location specified by the program counter. So program counter will tell the CPU which instruction need to fetch. So then it will fetch the instructions and then it will start executing these instructions. And instruction decode and execute. So when the instruction has been fetched, then it will start executing the instructions. So the fetching the instructions, it is start decoded and executed by the CPU, and these actions such as arithmetic operation or performing some calculations, it will done by the arithmetic logic units, and then again return to the program counter. Once the instruction is completed, the processor return to the program counter to locate the next instruction, because it's a cycle. When one cycle is completed, then it needs another instruction to execute it, and in the sixth step it will repeat the inter instructions until the computer is turned off. So that's it in the Fetch-Decode-Execute model and Fetch-Decode-Execute cycle. So please feel free to ask any question if you have. I will try to answer all of your questions, and if you feel any confusions, any doubts, you can just ask me in the comment section. I'll try to give answer to everyone specifically. Okay, so Thank you and see you in the next class, and thanks for your patience. So that's all for now. See you in the next class.